Hi, Linda Vidi from Linda Vidi's Life Coaching and Counseling, and I want to talk to you today about self-sabotage. Now, with trauma, a lot of times when things start going well, when things are improving for us, when the marriage is going well, the kids are going well, parents are going well, everything's going well, the fear is that things don't go well and stay well, so you wait for the other shoe to drop, basically. And that causes anxiety in trauma victims. So the anxiety of waiting for the other shoe to drop is almost worse than actually creating that other shoe dropping. Basically, pulling the shoe off yourself and dropping it is easier than not having control over when that other shoe's going to drop, how that other shoe's going to drop, and being concerned about what you'll do if that happens. So that anxiety causes an uncomfortableness in trauma victims when things are going well, and they will self-sabotage. Like, for instance, let's say someone gets a new job and the job is going well, they're being praised for good performance, and everything they do, they're waiting for the boss to come back with something bad. They're waiting for something to happen. So they will purposely make a mistake. They will purposely do something that they know their boss is going to catch. And that way they can say, see, I knew it. I knew they weren't going to like me. I knew they weren't going to think my work was good. I knew. However, this is not always conscious. This can be subconscious. And if it's subconscious, then you don't even maybe fully realize that you're doing this to yourself. And that is the concern. That is why I'm doing this video today, is because a lot of times this is just a unconscious or subconscious way of getting rid of that anxiety and making the bad thing happen quicker or under your control, rather than wait for it to be in someone else's hands, in someone else's time, in someone else's element of surprise, so to speak. And so trauma victims will do this and not even realize they're doing it. They can do it in every area of their lives. It can be business, it can be relationships, it can be you name it. They will do it in any of the ways that they feel like things are going too smoothly, too good, and they know this is not going to last. So let's wait for the other shoe to drop. Let's make it happen. Let's not sit with the anxiety. And so that is how self-sabotage comes about with the trauma victim. Now, what can we do to prevent this? First thing we have to do when things are starting to go well and going well is we have to acknowledge that anxiety. We have to acknowledge that we're used to chaos. We're used to the other shoe dropping. We're used to bad things happening. We're used to things coming out of the blue and traumatizing us. We're used to that stuff. That's normal for us. This is normal. So when things go well and are going smooth, it's almost like, in the scary movies where there's dead silence and the person's walking down into the basement and nothing's happening. It's, you don't think anything's going to happen. Person's just walking into the basement, but everyone knows something bad could happen down there. So it's the same exact thing with the trauma survivor in that situation. They are looking at everything as walking down into the basement. And so if they can know what is going to come out of the wall, or if they can know what's going to come around the corner, if they can know what they're going to trip over, if they can know that, if they can create that, then the unknown is not as scary. And I know in our logical minds this makes absolutely no sense. It makes no sense even as I'm saying it now, and I have done this. So I've lived through this more than once, and what we have to get to first, we have to acknowledge the anxiety. We have to acknowledge that, okay, it's uncomfortable when things go well. Why? What happened in the past when things went well? What happened that came out of the blue that kind of blindsided us and caught us off guard? What was that experience like? What is different? And then we start going into what is different about our situation now. Maybe we've done some healing work. Maybe we are doing things so that things do go well. Things aren't kind of blindsiding us. And remember, when we got blindsided, it wasn't our fault. We didn't create it. We didn't want it. We didn't encourage it. It just happened. And that is the scary part about trauma. It just happens. And so when those kind of things happen in your life, it's hard to get used to being comfortable with things going well, things going good. Nothing bad is coming around the pike. And so we have to start getting comfortable with that. And we also have to find a way to maybe play devil's advocate. Okay, what if, let's just say we have this new job and everything's going well. The boss is really happy with us. But the anxiety is that he's going to come around that corner and say, you know what, you did a crappy job, you're fired. And you're not even going to know what you did. So we can acknowledge that that is a fear. We can acknowledge that is an anxiety. We can acknowledge that if that does happen, by no fault of our own, nothing we purposely did or caused to have happen, then you know what? We're strong enough to deal with it now. We can handle it. If that boyfriend calls and says, you know what, I don't want to see you anymore, or that husband says, I'm leaving you, you know what? We've become strong enough and confident enough and independent enough that if that happens, yes, it will absolutely hurt and be a trauma in our lives. But we've gotten through worse traumas, haven't we? We've struggled through some really, really difficult stuff that blindsided us, and we got through it. Maybe not in the healthiest of ways, but we got through it. So if we can brainstorm about what could possibly happen and walk ourselves do imagery, walking ourselves through it, if something like that did happen, then we can actually relieve some of that anxiety by thinking through it, by actually walking through the good and the bad. We can walk through what would we do in this situation, what would we do in that situation, and we can kind of calm ourselves down and know that, you know what, no matter what comes my way, I can handle it today. You can handle it today. I promise you, if you've gotten through your original traumas and you're working through them and you're struggling with this self-sabotage, do these 3 things. Check on your anxiety. Understand that anxiety is going to be a part of when things go well because you're so used to chaos. Then you're going to understand that just because things are going well doesn't mean a trauma is going to come out of nowhere. It does not mean that. And then we can think through, okay, if something bad does happen, if something bad does come down the pike, what would I do in that situation? This fear, this anxiety that I'm sitting with, let me just think it through. Let me work it through and know what I can handle. And when we look back at what we have gone through and what we have survived, you can get through it. You don't have to self-sabotage in order to be prepared for a trauma. You can do it other ways. You can think it through, you can understand your feelings, and you can work through it. So if you find yourself self-sabotaging, please reach out to me. Linda Vidi at Linda Vidi's Life Coaching and Counseling. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, message me on Messenger. I will respond. Find me on TikTok, subscribe to this YouTube channel, please click the button below, and we'll see you next time. God bless.